Back to the Culture Call on Praise 93.3 with L. Spencer Smith. Our desire is to reach and empower the community by discussing a cross-section of relevant topics from various perspectives that are essential to its growth and interpersonal connections. Be sure to save our call-in number, 205-752-4800. Be sure to install the free Praise 93.3 app so you can send L. Spencer Smith a message or topic idea. Search for WTSK in your app store.
This is a world premiere. Great morning, precious people. You know what time it is. It's time for your favorite talk show. That's right, the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith. That's right, it's the place where Tuscaloosa meets the world. Absolutely. And for the next 2 hours from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we're going to be talking a little bit, about everything. From society to sports, education, economics, and definitely from religion to relationships. And as always, we are here to create a safe space to have empowering, provocative, and yes, sometimes even controversial conversations. Absolutely. And guess what? You can call in and chat it up with us right here as we learn together on the Culture Call. First of all, I want to do a little testimony service. Number one, first of all, thank you to all of you who are our new listeners. Welcome to the CC family. Absolutely. The Culture Call family. We are expanding. Things are happening so rapidly here. And guess what? We are growing. And it's because of great people like you that tune in while you're sitting at your desk, while you're traveling, while you're at wherever you are in the country. Guess what? We appreciate you being a part of our family. Maybe this is your first time. Absolutely. Definitely will not be your last. Stay locked in. Get rooted right here. We're going to talk about what is going on in the black community and make sure that we are not late, last, and or lost in anything that's going on in this country, in our state, and definitely around the globe. So welcome. Number two. I want to welcome all of my family that's been here with me, consistent, committed, dedicated. You know all the adjectives that we could use. I am grateful for the faithful ones that listen to me every day and give me a shout out on Facebook, on social media, or when you see me in person, you're like, hey, Reverend, I am so glad that you are on. You're exactly what our community has been needing. Yeah, giving us information, challenging us, making us aware, being a voice for our community. And let me tell you, I really, really appreciate that. It has been my prayer since we started back 1 year ago in March 6th to be exact, that my heart has been for my community and to tell you and to tell all of us so that we can make sure that we are positioned with proper information, proper insight, and that we can just build and be stronger, not just in Tuscaloosa, but all around the country. So welcome. And then thirdly, and finally, but last but not least, I want to send a big shout out to Brother Jay. That's right. Everybody clap your hands. Everybody clap your hands. That's right. Let's hear it for Brother Jay, who blazes the trail from 5 a.m. all the way up until he passes that revival hot baton to me. And I try to run on to see what the end is going to be. That's right. He leads me around these ropes. And I remember when I started out last year, he was like, hey, you're going to get the hang of this and you're going to have a good time. Just, hey, enjoy yourself. And my goodness, he was right. I enjoy myself. And listen, I love it. Listening to him play that gospel music, he said, he walks over to my room and said, hey, guess what? I got one coming up. And I'm telling you, he'll set it on fire. I love it because he plays a good range of gospel music, traditional, contemporary, urban. Hey, you ought to keep it right here on Praise 93.3 throughout the day, beginning with Brother Jay and then the Culture Call and then all throughout the day, Praise 93.3. I'm telling you, we are grateful to have you as listeners. Thank you, Brother Jay, for all that you do. Listen, all of you, I want to always encourage you that if you have not done so already, go to the App Store on your smart device, your iPad, iPhone, your Google phone, your Android, whatever. They have so many phones, different phones out now. But go ahead to your App Store and search Praise 93.3 FM. There you will find our free 99 app. Yes, right. It doesn't cost you a thing. Go ahead and download that app and you can listen to us from all around the world, definitely all around the country. Yeah, stay in touch and listen and make sure that you are an active part of what is happening here at Praise 93.3 FM. Always something inspirational, always something good going on. That's right. You can hear us in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C., Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Jackson, Mississippi, and definitely right here in Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Huntsville, Mobile, Montgomery. You can hear us in Bolaji, Gordo, Reform, Utah. That's right, Aliceville. Everywhere you can hear us, and I promise you we're going to bless your socks off as you stay locked in. As always, go ahead and email me your public service announcements at culturecall.praise@gmail.com. That's culturecall.praise@gmail.com. And give me an opportunity to, get my megaphone and tell everybody, lottie-dottie, and whoever will listen, right, to support your church, your organization, your sorority, your fraternity, whether you're an artist getting ready to do a recording or a concert, or a preacher getting ready to start a church or have a revival. We want everybody to put their faces in the place so that you will know that what you do really makes the difference in our community. You know why? Because we do it better when we do it together. Absolutely. And as always, go ahead and save the golden number 205-752-4800, 205-752-4800. And you can call in to be a part of the show, or definitely you can chat it up with me on our app. That's right. If you download the app has a chat feature. And you can send me messages and give me comments right on the app. And then you don't have to stop doing what you're doing in terms of work. You can, for those of you who have to be in places that, control the noise, or you don't want nobody to know that you're listening, whatever that looks like, right? You can go ahead and do that on the app, right? Also, follow us on social media, Facebook, The Culture Call. Go ahead and press that like button. We need you to press that like button, follow us, and you can stay in touch and in tune with what we do from day to day. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And maybe you've missed a past broadcast. Tell you what you can do. Go to Apple Podcasts if you can, and you can look up all of our archived features, archived shows. Culture Call. Now, it's not some people are like, well, I put in The Culture Call and nothing came up. That's because we're simply Culture Call over there, right? So, yeah, make sure that you do that. And if you miss something, go ahead. I promise you every show, that's a promise from me to you. Every show will bless your socks off. Yeah. So do me a favor. Sit back and relax. Grab you some coffee. You know how we do it, from Maxwell House to Starbucks, right? If you don't like coffee, go ahead and get you some tea, some herbal tea. If you're trying to calm down, chamomile. That's right. If you're trying to spur up, get a little caffeine kick, get you some green tea. Yeah. Or definitely, as always, you can get you some alkaline water, some water. That's right. That's the water in the black label. Somebody asked me, what is your favorite? Essentia is my favorite alkaline water. Go ahead and detox that body. And yeah, let's get into the culture. Listen. So, hey, let me start off right here. April is Stress Awareness Month. April is Stress Awareness Month, right? Now, what does that mean? Glad that you asked. That all the month of April, organizations all over the country pay attention or try to bring an awareness to people in how to identify, first of all, how to handle and manage their particular stress levels. Because you and I know that stress can cause not just psychological issues, but it can also create psychosomatic diseases and sicknesses where our minds are such under stress that it creates certain reactions in our organs, especially our internal organs, our kidneys and our liver, and all of those other areas. Yeah, not just headaches, but some really serious things can happen. High blood pressure. It can trigger things that's already in your bloodline that have been lying dormant, but that excessive stress nature that you function in, right, causes other things to happen. And especially in our community, I always like to, share this about our community, that we have had to handle tremendous amounts of stress. And what we're finding now is that stress, when I grew up, stress used to be what I thought was an old people, kind of situation, right? Because they got a whole lot. But what we're finding out in studies now is that psychiatrists and psychologists, simple internal doctors, our internists are finding out that stress levels are even in our teenagers now, right? The pressures of social media, the pressures of responsibility. This has been such a pampered generation that anything that doesn't necessarily go their way, they don't have proper stress management skills. And so it's not only older people who are working jobs and taking care of families and got bills to pay. They're also, teenagers that are stressing out, and it's causing them to enter into depression, poor grades, poor health, overeating, obesity, having really depressive mania where they have to be on certain drugs, which is not good. That's all. None of that is good, right? And if we don't pay attention to how systemic these things are, the next couple of generations will be over-medicated generation. I'm talking about taking, stress drugs to come up, stress drugs to come down. You'll see a lot of cancer, and it's already increasing in younger people. Colon cancer, breast cancer, all of those different kinds of ailments are increasing in our young people already, right? And so what we thought was just relegated to a certain generation and to a certain age group are now befalling our young people. And that is simply because we're not necessarily bringing proper awareness to stress. We're not talking about it in a educated fashion, right? And of course, in our community, we've been kind of, take it and shake it off, take a licking and keep on ticking kind of situation. And we really don't understand what it means to, relax, have peace, to de-stress, right? We don't know what that means because we've been on the grind since we walked the grounds of this country. And now we're in a situation to where we're exposed. And I say this all the time because we are 24 hours exposed to something. The news does not shut off. Bad news does not stop coming. And, whether you tune it on, the news, social media, just everything keeps going. Nothing is teaching us to continue to grind. And one of the things that I've learned is that if you continue to grind like a pencil, if you keep putting a pencil in a sharpener, right, you always want to be sharp. You always want to be ready to write. You keep doing that. Guess what? That pencil is one day going to grind down to a little point. And what I'm seeing now is this a whole lot of people, and that's not age specific. They are so stressed out and they're working towards something, that they don't know how to add rest and peace and how to appropriate it, right? Now, here's the deal. And, I always like to do my research and I like to do my study. This whole addiction that we have as black folks with working excessively, not resting, right? And that is an offshoot of slavery, right? I know you're like, oh my God, here he goes with that again. But no, here it is. This is the truth. That because we've been working, we were bred to work in this country. We have an addiction to working. And then when our freedom was given to us, they created a trope that we were lazy. And so that our minds acting counterintuitively to the means that the society has set up. We got to keep working so we won't appear lazy, or we got to keep grinding because, this XYZ. And because most of us have been born and bred without silver spoons in our mouth. In other words, we didn't have a rich uncle or rich father or mother to die to leave us an inheritance so that we could start off at least where they stopped. No, a lot of us generationally start off at the very beginning because at the very bottom. Why? Because our foreparents didn't have anything to leave us. Right? We're still in a generation where people don't have even enough money to bury their relatives. They got to do a GoFundMe. They got to ask the church or, somebody's got to loan them something to just bury somebody, to give them an honorable burial. Right? And that has become a part of our culture. That has become a part of our understanding of how we survive in this world. And so a lot of us as black and brown people, we've got, 3 and 4 jobs, right? working crazy shifts, but never stop working. We're opening business after business after business after business. And even though I believe in the entrepreneurial effort, I believe in the entrepreneurial and small business skill, I think all of those are very important. But for some people, that working and that grinding is an addiction because they don't want to hear that they are lazy. They don't want to hear that, they ain't worth nothing or whatever, trope that's out there. They don't want to hear that. And then they have to have money because money, watch this, what Ecclesiastes says, money answers all things. If you don't understand anything else about money, money gives you options. And so the whole thing is the more money I have, the more options I have, which is not always good, right? but it gives you, money gives you options to what you can and cannot do, right? And so, the whole idea is let me get more money, let me make more bread, let me get more gold in my coffer, right? So that I can have more options. But here's the deal, that you're going to work, and not give yourself the option to rest, and that stress is going to build up. And, we'll be young people having heart attacks, young people that are suffering from, insulin inappropriation in our bodies, overweight, eating disorders, migraines. All of those are early onset things of dementia and all those other kinds of things because we're just stressed out, right? And we've been taught to do that. We're not even going to talk about modern racism. We're not going to talk about all of these other things that most of us, we're not single generational families that we're able to take care of ourselves. Most of us are taking care of mama, grandmama, children, and because of how our villages are raised and how we're taught to take care of each other, some of us are in that pressure, right? A lot of us are the caretakers of our parents and our grandparents, right? Which means that we either live with them, they either live with us, because we can't afford the expense of in-home health care for home care rather. And, for people to come. So, you got people who are 50, 60, 70 who are trying to take care of our elderly by themselves, right? And that is a stressful job. So when you look at it, the list goes on and on, right? That we are suffering really as Black people in our community, and we need to recognize it from a mental health crisis. And that's not because our children are born that way. That simply is because they come up in such a stressful environment, an environment that not only is it stressful, but it does not educate on how we should deal with and or manage stress, right? Now, let me segue here because there is good stress and there is bad stress, or should I say positive stress and negative stress, right? That positive stress is that, you need some kind of focus, some kind of trajectory. Yeah, that's the word I want to use. Some kind of dream, some kind of objective and goal that you're going after, right? And that going after that goal produces a particular positive stress. It could be for young people, passing the science exam, passing the ACT and the SAT, right? You need that, and handling different classes and all of that, right? That's not stress that can be or need be avoided. You need to understand that that's not negative stress. That's positive stress, right? Why is that positive stress? Because it is helping me, learn. It is helping me, is causing me to mature, causing me to understand what is the responsibilities that are attached to my life, that I am here for purpose and value and design and worth, right? And so that's not a bad thing. Chores can be stressful, yeah, but it's not a bad stress. It's not a negative stress. It's showing you how to take care of making up your bed because guess what? One day, prayerfully, you'll own your own. You'll own your own home, yeah? And you have to learn how to take care of that. You got to pay your own bills and all of those different kinds of things. And, in a world and in a market that things seem to be rising up faster than the pay increases, that are going on. Absolutely. So yeah, those things are some positive stressors, right? But then this whole idea, and those positive stressors are really the words responsibility, because, to try to take away stress from your children or stress from teenagers and let them just do what they want to do and let them play on their Xbox or their PlayStations or let them go where they want to go because you want them to have a life of ease because, your parents made you do chores, wash the dishes, make up the bed, vacuum the floor, clean up the bathroom, and I want my child to have better than me, but I don't think that's better. I think you learn responsibility. I think, when you tell them, okay, you're hungry, go ahead and cook you something, and you show them how to cook it, I don't think that's bad stress at all. I think that when they get older, you're preparing them to be responsible for their own measure of survival. Yeah, that is not, that's stress, yes, but it is a part of the growth mechanism, the maturation mechanism that is attached to humanity, that all of us need those things. We all feel stress, right? When a young toddler is trying to learn to tie their shoes, right? It's easy for you. It's not stressful for you, but it's stressful for them because they're trying to mesh cognitive and cognitive skill with their motor skills and get their hands to coordinate with their brain so they know what they want to do, right? And it's stressful for them. Well, that's positive stress because they're learning how to tie their shoes. It goes with the territory. So yes, there is positive stress. But then there is this thing called negative stress, where it causes trauma to the point to where we're not functioning and it becomes deleterious. It becomes destructive to our own bodies and our own beings, right? When you're trying to buy a new car when you don't need one, but because your neighbor has a new car and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, and so you're working yourself down to the ground and to the gristle, that's not good stress. That is negative stress, right? Because it does really nothing for you. You're trying to impress somebody who doesn't care anyway, right? It's that negative stress that makes you work 4 and 5 jobs, to make ends meet. And let me say this, that is negative stress, not because you're trying to provide for yourself, but it is negative stress induced purposely by the capitalism. It's called predatory capitalism. Some of it is racist capitalism as well, but it's predatory capitalism, right? That you got to work so hard and people make money off of your labor. You got to work at your job here. You got to work at your job. Then you got to go somewhere else and you got to work at your job at Walmart. And then you spend a couple of hours there. And then late night you're working at a fast food restaurant and you're trying to make ends meet. All of those different kinds of things. Yeah, that's not how it is supposed to be. That is not how it is supposed to be. And I think that's part and parcel why our parents really stressed education. And so that you could have options, better options than they had, right? That they had to work multiple jobs to make ends meet, right? And in a country that's still fighting over what we should pay people for minimum wage, I saw an article about a CEO, making like $4,000 something dollars an hour per hour. Culture call per hour, $4,000 an hour. And so the person who posted it on Twitter, yeah, it's called X now, but Twitter, and then they said, well, today actually, I believe it's a bill that goes in action in California that the minimum wage is $20. The minimum wage is $20. And the person was like, I don't want to hear anything about anybody saying, the minimum wage being $20 in California because the CEOs make $4,000 and they ran the litany. Some made $12,000 per hour. And of course, somebody's got to be contrarian. I understood what they meant. Somebody had to post up under in the comments, well, that person is running an entire company. No, that's not even how a CEO's job works. That is not how it works. That's not how the person at the top works. They get to the top so that, yes, they will be responsible for workers, but not that they actually do grunt work. They're responsible to make sure systems work appropriately and all those different kinds of things, but it ain't the kind of work that person was talking about. So when you talk about, this kind of capitalism that we live under, it is very difficult for people to make it, but it's causing stress, and especially in our community, right? And that stress affects our parenting, right? Because sometimes we're not even home to make sure that our children are there and doing what they're supposed to do, right? A lot of us grew up as latchkey kids because our parents weren't home because they had to what? Work, right? There was it was no 9 to 5 clock in at 9, cut off at 5, and we're done, and we can help children with homework. That's not the reality for everybody. They have to work and work and work just to make ends meet. Rent is going up, mortgages are, and a lot of that is predatory because the apartment's not even, ain't even worth that, but they're taking rent up. So what used to cost $500 a month now costs $1,000 a month, and they might have put some crown molding in the apartment, right? So all of these things are going up, and so people feel that urgency, that threat to continue to work like that. They feel this whole thing. If I don't work, how I'm gonna make it? If I don't work, how am I gonna I'm going to pay the rent, all my money spent, a little bit to buy some food, baby need a pair of shoes, even got a light bill too. Y'all know Jesus will work it out, that song. Yeah. And so that's that in that mindset. And we are a stressed out people. Now you put that aside. And in this country right now, some of the most are probably the most stressed out folk. Number one, are poor people. Yes. Number two, in that poor people, under that are black people, and black people, and that's black middle class, black poor people, lower class, and black upper class. Everybody's under the stress because this country is trying to go back to archaic days, the days of Jim Crow, right? And so much so that it is creating a whole lot of stress and tension. A lot of the civil rights things that were given to us, there are people actively trying to take those things away, even today. And we're not just talking about affirmative action or DEI or CRT, critical race, and all those different kinds of things. They're using buzzwords to, because to them, factory workers is what we are supposed to be. That's if you listen to the conversations that are being had, especially on the news, they're like, well, they can't be intelligent. The mayor and the governor, now they were asleep when the ship hit the bridge in Baltimore. But there you have some racist folks get on there and say, well, that's because of DEI. What that got to do with DEI? That nothing. But it's their racist attempt to say that black people should not be in places of leadership. And that creates stress. Right? It is their labeling, all of those different kinds of things. And so, when you're dealing with that voters' rights, right? When you look at it in one realm, it's almost not safe for our black mothers to have children now, right? Because of the high mortality rate. That happens. Either the mother doesn't survive or the child doesn't survive or both do not survive, right? When you're thinking about things and we can expand it and talk about it, it is a stressful occurrence. In Culture Call, we need to figure out how we're going to do, first of all, what we're stressing about, number one. Number two, we need to talk about solvent ways we can begin to articulate and address the stress that we go through in our community. Just trying to be humans, just trying to make a way and provide for our families. Stress getting ready to go to school, stress about college, stress about not being able to find a job. It's a whole lot going on. And so this morning, we want to start a conversation on this Stress Awareness Month of how we can appropriately address the stress levels that are happening in our community. And I believe that when we talk about it and create conversation around it, solutions will come out of conversations. We will never find a solution to that which we never talk about. All right? And so I need you to stay right here. I need you to stay right here on the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith on Praise 93.3, your inspiration station. Got much more to come. Keep it right here.
This is the world premiere.
And we are back right here on the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, Praise 93.3 FM. And we are having a wonderful kickoff this morning, a wonderful day in April. Yeah, talking about Stress Awareness Month. That's what April is, Stress Awareness Month. And yeah, We need to talk about it in our community. Because some of y'all listening to me right now are stressed out. Are stressed totally out. And I get it. I get it. I promise you. I get it. Are stressed out. Listen, as a husband, a father, a pastor, a businessman, an author, an artist, all the things that I do, I get it. That we're sometimes you can be so addicted to accomplishment and addicted to desiring success and achievement that you're not even factoring in that every time you put something on your plate, guess what? That, it adds another level of stress. It adds another level of stress. And one of the things that we must need do is to understand what our stresses are, what our triggers are, how to be good stewards over over our peace, our time, our work, our energy. I think it is very important for us to do that. And if we don't learn how to do that, it is going to create systems of breakdown in our bodies, breakdowns in our minds. If we don't understand what all that means, right? We've got to be able to assess properly, all those things logistically that come against us. And if we don't do that, what's going to happen is, we'll create a life environment that does not seek to it might look productive on the surface, but what's going on underneath? Have you really, I know that, one of the things that black folks love to do, we love to self-diagnose our situations, right? Any type of sickness, any type of pain, we like to, self-diagnose it, it's just this, it's just that. And a lot of times we put off things that at its genesis could have been caught, but then we put it off until it gets really out of hand, and now we have to medicate. It becomes corrective because we ignore the moment where it could have been prevented, right? Where we're in the preventative stages, right? We don't do what we need to do because, again, we have a somewhat unhealthy addiction to the grind, to work, to stressing out, right? To sweating the small stuff, right? The whole idea is, and it's inbred in us, y'all. It is inbred in us. If you're my age or even before, I think, we still say that when my kids were younger, that you got to be 2 times better than them, that your A is their B, right? And what that made it seem like was that they could do lesser and we would have to always do more than them just to be equalized. And that's the mindset that is etched in our community. Let me say it again, that when you say to your children, listen, you got to get an A+ just to match with their B, that means that they can look at other people skate by and do their least work and effort, and we got to do our best and overexert ourselves just to be thought as on equal footing, right? So this whole even notion that they're coming up with now, that if a black person is anywhere, please understand that they have worked twice as hard to get there. Where's my organ today? Where's my Hammond player? That's right. E flat. We'll start off there and we'll walk it up, sir. Listen, that's etched in our minds as a cultural normative that we've got to do twice and even triple as them, better than them, just to be able to get what they get by pedigree, by legacy, by racial access. We got to do much better. And it breeds into us, and we breed it into our children. Don't go to school and act like, X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Don't go to school and act like, you don't have to do this and that. You got to be better than. You got to be better than just to get half of what they have. Right? I just saw a particular clip of Scandal. Y'all remember Scandal with, my goodness, I forgot my girl's name. Carrie. Yeah. And her father was talking to her, and was saying, yes, I've taught you that you got to be twice as good as them just to get half of what they have. And that is the American way and notion, right? or you got to sell out your soul and sell out yourself to be regarded as to get in rooms and access some positions and things that you got to say, what? And at the beginning and the end of the day, you will always be reminded exactly who you are to them. You think you got a little adjacency that gives you a little access, but the truth of the matter is that you've done all that to only just be regarded as in somebody's pocket. And so when you live in that kind of world where that you got to do better, and they teach stress out. And here's the deal. And you still might not get it. You still might get the Princeton, Harvard, Yale, Brown. You still might get to those things. You still might go to the private schools, and you still might get, the 30 and the 31s on the ACT, and the 1500s on the SAT. You still do all of that, and they'll still think you're not. And that causes a lot of stress. That's the genesis of a lot of stress, that we always think we got to be better, we got to be better, we got to be better. Right? Instead of working in our framework. Right? And then there's always the dangle of more. Of more, right? And we got to be careful of even how we, and I'm guilty as a pastor as this. We got to be careful of how we preach it. Not that I am, a proponent of the prosperity gospel, or the prosperity word, right? But here's the deal. Prosperity doesn't mean money. I think that's the first. That's why I said I'm not fully against it in terms of, the prosperity gospel. The gospel of prosperity does not mean more money. The word prosperity in the Greek means for it to go well on your journey, or for you to have an advantageous adventure. That means that you got your health, your strength, your mind, you got all your family, you got the money that you need to take care of some things. You got a little bit of surplus. Yeah, you got surplus there as well. Doesn't mean that everybody's going to be billionaires and trillionaires. That's not what that means. And we got to be very careful of even how we teach that in church. Yeah, you got to teach a balance. Now, here's what the Bible says. The Bible says that the poor ought to have the gospel preached to them. So that means that there is something significantly connected to the state of you economically, and that's not just poor in spirit. When you start doing an etymological word research, that means poor in finances, poor in any area of your life. You need to understand the gospel of John 10:10. I come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. That word life abundantly is the Greek word zoe, the God kind of life. In other words, an abundant life is the life that God has designed for you and I, right? It doesn't mean that I'm going to have a Rolls Royce or a Bentley, right? Because the issue there, that's going to create more stress, because it's not just that you can keep it, but the issue is the maintenance. Man, let me tell you something. Having a Mercedes is an awesome ride. I've had two in my life. The big class, the S class, right? Right before you get to the Maybach. I've had both of them. And it was good. I mean, you had to put 93 gas in it. So if y'all like 87 and 89, don't get none of them cars, because you're going to have to, on those bigger cars, you're going to have to put the premium, right? Right? But when it got time for maintenance, saints and different ones, culture call. I went to my first maintenance on my Mercedes S-Class, and that man told me how much the tires were and how much the brakes were. I said, oh, no. See, no. I'm trading this in. I'm selling this. No, this ain't God's way for my life. That thing in total, when you do brakes, and I had the sports package on one of my cars. And so the two front tires were not the same size as the two back tires. So you couldn't even flip it out. You couldn't switch them around like you could do regular cars, because all of them are basically the same size. But listen, that was a mortgage just to get my car service, a mortgage payment. And I'm talking about a mortgage on a good house. I'm talking about upwards to, $500,000 to $7,000, $700,000 house. That's how much that thing costs. I said, oh no, this is not what we're doing today. This is not prosperous to me. This is not prosperous. No. That was, and even though I loved the car, even though all of that was great, yeah, It was the maintenance. The maintenance caused me to reevaluate my stewardship. The maintenance was causing me to stress out. And I was like, yo, I don't want to take this car to get it serviced, the oil change, because I don't have $600 or $700 to be doing this every time. You know, I don't, not to get no oil change and no other situations going on. No, absolutely not. And so when you talk about prosperity, and I want to bring this up because a whole lot of black folks, we struggle in the area of prosperity. And that is because of how we have defined a prosperity inappropriately. It is a misdefinition, and bad definitions lead to wrong destinations. Let me say it again. Bad definitions lead to wrong destinations. And so, you know, but on the flip side, you telling you don't need and you're fussing about people who have. No, I'm not fussing about anybody who has, because they have got a greater level of responsibility. The text teaches that about the 5, the 2, and the 1 talent. It teaches us according to everybody's ability. Now there it is. See, the scriptures have answers if we would listen to them, right? And I don't want to wax preachy today, but that is the facts. That a lot of times we want things out of our ability to manage them, then we get them, and then we understand that with those things, because we don't really know how to facilitate those, they come with a certain level of what? Stress. We stress ourselves out. Getting a bigger house, getting more cars, getting this, getting that, and acquiring things, ain't got no room for it because we think we making it now, right? Yeah, all of that. So we have to begin to understand that, yes, we want prosperity, right? The text says, send now prosperity. That means whatever in my life is causing me to function at a disadvantage, that's causing me to stress out, that's not helping me to be the best person that I can be for my wife, my husband, my children, my community, my family, my coworkers, right? Whatever is stressing me out, whatever is robbing me of sleep, that's got my blood pressure and my sugar acting all crazy, then yes, send prosperity. That means right the ship. That you're giving God permission to right the ship. Put me back on the path that you ordained and let it go well with me. Let it go well with me. It is well with my soul is not just a funeral song. It's not just a song of sadness. It is a daily mantra that we ought to speak over our lives. It is well with my soul. I am grateful for what I have. I am content with what I have. Do I want more? When God prospers me, when he gives me a little bit more so that I can afford more, the more that I desire, that it's not going to create any more stress in my life, then that's when I'll have it. If you don't have it now, you don't need it yet. And I'm talking about things. I'm not talking about, the daily thing. No, because he promised that he would take care of us daily, right? That we go to work, but we're not dependent on our work. You see, some of you are working because you depend on your jobs. Right now, your job could close down. And then what you going to do? You could get an injury on the job. And then what you going to do? You could become disabled. And then what you going to do? So then our jobs are really not the thing that takes care of us. So you work, and grind. Yeah. But a lot of the multiple jobs that you're working don't even have insurance. So if anything ever happened, you still now, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay to go to the hospital and get medication and all of these different kinds of things? Right. And so we got to understand, what is our stress culture that we've created? What's our stress environment? I'm talking about not that other people have placed on us, but what have we allowed ourselves and, yes, others to put on us as sense of obligations that are predatory in our lives? That's robbing us of stress, that you're staying up all night, every night. Now, I know there's some nights that you got to kind of get things done, and that's when the house is quiet and, it's all settled down. But every night of the 7 days a week, you're never able to get in your bed before a new day turns, right? And a new day turns at 12 midnight, right? You're never able to do that, then you need to reevaluate. But Bishop, what if you work at night? Listen, God bless you and yours. That says the factory never stops working. Now, your boss and the CEO ain't working 24 hours a day. No, that's not happening. And so they put you on the night shift. Now, if you know anything about biology, if you know anything about your physiology, your body knows when it's supposed to be sleep. It's supposed to be sleep at night, right? Night comes when no man can work. That's a principle. That's not just a Christological saying. That's not just something that Jesus said. No, that is a life principle. Night comes when no man can work. That everybody should be, in other cultures, except this Americanized culture, every other culture finds a place and a way to rest. Right? And so you got to deal with your circadian clock because your body knows when it's time to get up. When it's daylight, it's supposed to be up. And when the moon shines, it's supposed to be resting. But our clock in this American culture is so off and it's causing stress in our lives. I'm not casting aspersions to any of you who are listening to me now who are working the night shift. No, I'm not, because you got to do what you got to do. I get it. I'm not mad at you at all. I'm just trying to tell you that you got to take greater care of your body and manage your stress levels better, because guess what? At the nighttime, you're not supposed to be trying to handle stress. You're supposed to be sleeping. Sleep is supposed to handle stress. Sleep is supposed to de-stress you. Yes. And deep sleep. But if you never get there, daytime rest does not do that. And your body knows. That's the way God has designed your body. And it knows you don't get maximum sleep in the day. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so what stresses are we environing and coddling in our lives? We need to change that. We need to manage and change as much as we possibly can to make sure that we prosper, and watch this, and be in health. Prosper and be in health. That's what we want to do. Listen, guys, 205-752-4800. You can go ahead and call me. Hit me up on the app. This is the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, right here on Praise 93.3. Having a wonderful day. I need you to keep it right here. There's so much more to come. Don't miss it.
This is the world premiere.
And we are back. It's the top of the hour right here on the Culture Call, 11 a.m. with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, Praise 93.3 FM. And we are having a beautiful day and an awesome conversation about stress. April is Stress Awareness Month. Are you aware of your stress? No, for real. Are you aware of your stressors? I know that many say, yeah, folks just get on my nerves. No, that does not necessarily mean that you're in stress. That's not what it really means. But no, do you know the things that really are your triggers and those things that really kind of knock you off of your center? And you can really feel it. At least I know I can. When somebody aggravates me, or that stress is coming on, I can sense it. I can sense it in my being. My body acts different. My mind acts different. My articulation is different, and you got to make sure that you know what that looks like for you, because you are responsible for pulling yourself back. No one else is responsible. You are responsible for pulling yourself back. Let me say that again. You are responsible for pulling yourself back. Yeah. That do not leave it to other people to say, well, stress. Because guess what you're going to do? You're going to fuss and fight and be mad with them. You're going to be highly upset with them about it, right? And don't tell me what to do. I know I got it. And because a lot of times people can see you stressed out before you see yourself, right? That people realize things about you before you recognize them about yourself. And so always I have to ask, do you see it? You got to see it for yourself. If you don't, listen, I tell you what, your doctor will see it. Huh? your doctor will see it if you don't. And so you got to make sure that you do exactly what you need to do to be, to monitor yourself, to be an individual that says, hey, let me just back up for a minute. This doesn't feel right today. Or I'm stressed out today. I'm not going today. Don't look for me. I'm not coming. Yeah. Sometimes you got to do that, y'all. Sometimes you got to tell yourself the truth and say, this is not working for me today. This is not, no, we're not, no. You got to do that. You know why? Because if you do not, you're going to find out when you get to the doctor's office and they're going to be like, sir, ma'am, do you know you got this going on? And you're going to be like, what? You know, and then now now you got to come to the altar and you got to pray for you because now we got to, no, but a lot of times stress is trying to tell you, hey, stressors, eating too much. What, you know, and then you eat a lot and then you don't watch what you eat, sugar, salt, your sodium, your sugar intake, your fatty intake, not enough fruits and vegetables, right? And because you're grinding all the time, you're always drinking coffee. I know at the start of the show, we say, you know, grab you some coffee, whether it's Maxwell House or Starbucks. I get that. But I'm not talking about coffee all day. I'm not talking about 6 and 7 cups of coffee. Come on. Really? Woo. That's a lot of caffeine. Absolutely. So you have to think about what is the effect that stress is causing on my world. What is it? Not just my body, but my world, right? And I really want you to become familiar with the word prosper, that God has determined that because we are his creation, that we prosper and be in health. Let me say that. Prosper and be in good health. Let me say this again for the folks in the back that's not listening to me. I said prosper and be in good health. Now, here's the key. Even as your soul prosper. Now, what is my soul? My imagination, my will, the way I think, my mind. So these things right here are create a lot of stress begins in the mind. Right? As a man thinketh in his heart, in his mind, so is he. I always tell my congregation and folks around me, what changes in the mind changes in time. It's our minds that keep us up. It's our minds are trying to process stress. It's trying to work through all of the nuances and the responsibilities and the obligations and places where we said yes, where we should have said no. Right? The places where we obligated ourselves and within our own being, we wanted to say no, but because of who it was, we didn't want to tell them no. You know? My mama asked me, my daddy asked me, my children asked me, my husband asked me, my wife asked me. Instead of just being honest and say, you know what, I will, but I might be able, but right now I'm not able because I'm really trying to navigate the stress point that I'm in right now. And that's fair. Call what you call. That's fair. Right? Because, if you said yes, but really meant no, you have created tension in your life because it's through the willingness is the buffer for stress. When I'm willing to do something, if I say yes and I want to do it, then that's a buffer from stress. Why? Because it's going to give me an opportunity to see myself joyous at what I'm doing because I really want to do this. I really want to be here. I really want to go. I really want to talk to you. I really want to, you see what I'm saying? I'm willingly giving my strength or my energy to this moment. But when you say yes, but everything inside of you says no, you are creating tension and undue stress in your life because every action, every request, every activity, there's going to be something on the inside of you, and all of us have been here, that says, I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to be here. And you're going to start hating the moment, right? But you can't express it. You're going to start hating the person that asked you, right? You're going to start snapping at folks around you, get a different attitude, because stress will change your attitude. Yes, it will. Culture call. Don't lie to me. You know that's the truth. Stress will definitely change your attitude. I don't want to do this. I do not. Right? And because we are a people that have learned how to work through that feeling and that notion, because we know how to, just do what I got to do, put my head down and grind some more. Right? We know how to put our mule on to be camels and donkeys and oxen and beasts of burden because we know how to do that. A lot of times we negate how we feel. We negate our emotions. We negate our own stress and our own trauma signatures in our minds. Right? We take away our own needs to rest because we're trying to make somebody else happy even while we are stressed out and in pain or frazzled by life. And see, I tell people that one of the best stress deterrents is the word no. It's to say, no, I really don't feel like that. No, I'm not going to be able to come. No, I'm not going to be able to, or maybe not now. Oh, but I need it. Mom, I need it now. Well, why are you just telling me now? When did you know you needed this? My parents were good at this. When did you know you needed it? Well, they gave us the note last week, so then why are you telling me today? Why are you coming and trying to put pressure? And here's one thing my mom used to say: your emergency does not mean my urgency, or your urgency does not mean my emergency. In other words, you're not going to create a stressful situation for me because you waited till the last minute to get things done. Period. We're not going to do that. No. We are not going to do that. And so I think we really need to, to survey what are our stresses? What's the things that's going on? How can you back out of it? What do you need to, a notion in your being and in your body? Yeah. Because if you get this straight, guess what? Them headaches will stop. You wake up tired. You wake up aggravated. All of that, a lot of times, is due to undue stress. And you really, really need to address that. You need to address that, right? You need to address that. And then when you get into, doing a study about chronic stress, I almost said, how many of y'all know you deal with chronic stress? Raise your hands like I can see it. We on the radio, right? Yeah, but chronic stress, and it's having an effect on your being, on what you can do, your dreaming, your desiring, right? It is unnatural. What do you mean? What do you mean, Bishop? It is unnatural for you to be up under that kind of stress. It's when I walk in the doctor's office and they take my blood pressure and that first reading is not always good, right? That is not always good. Here's what the doctor would say: what's on your mind right now? What you think about, right? And I'm like, well, I'm not thinking about anything but being in this office. He's like, no, it's more than just. I know there's a thing called white coat syndrome that people don't like going to the doctor and their blood pressure goes up when they walk into a medical facility. And I am one of those people. I don't like doctors. I don't like going to the doctor's office. I don't like the hospital, as the word like that. That's just, I've always been that way. People say, well, you the pastor. What that got to do with me liking the hospital? That's not a place where I just go to take a picnic, Pastor, I didn't say I don't go. I don't say I don't have to go, but it's not a part of the job I like. I don't like to see tubes and blood I don't like to see none of that. I don't like to be there. That's just a thing. And when I have to do that, there's undue stress there. But you go and you do your due diligence, right? But you got to know what your signals are, right? I stress out when I'm around people who are not thinkers, who are not, oh my goodness. Now, if you want to stress me out, and I know I'm not by myself, Culture Call, because I know y'all, listen, when you really understand how I have a tremendous pet peeve and stress out for people who are not thinkers or don't function in a level of practicality. Like, why are we even talking about? Why did you even ask me this question? Why did you come to me with that? What part of you didn't understand X, Y, Z? And I found out. Now watch this, Coach Carl. Let me teach you about people real quick that ain't scared to stress you out. They are looking for, especially when it's in the realm of their responsibility, they will stress you out because they don't want to be what they have to do. If they did their job or they did their assignment or they did what they're trying to scapegoat you to do, they don't want to be the enemy, somebody else's enemy. They don't want to be somebody else's enemy. That's not what they want. They don't want that. They don't want that at all. And so they'll ask you what. I'm like, really? Really? You didn't know this? This didn't kick in? That is my pet peeve. But when you don't function with how my grandmama said, the good sense God gave you. I'm like, really? Really? Right? That gives me tremendous pause. I'm like, oh my God. And so you really need to get an understanding of what your triggers are. And it's okay. Listen, here's the next piece. Once you identify what your triggers are, it is really okay for you to address it. To let nobody touch that area. It really is. It is really okay to say, no, that's my trigger. No, nope, I'm not, nope. You're not going to get on my nerves today. You're not going to do that. I'm not trying to get on your nerves. Okay, well, let's walk it out. Let's walk it out and see. Since you ain't trying to get on my nerves, let's walk it out and see. And I helped them walk it out. I would say, see, now that's the problem you were going to put on me. See, you knew the answer. You knew the answer, but you wanted to make me your scapegoat. Huh? You wanted to make me your scapegoat and stress me out. You wanted to put that all on me so you could go back and say, well, L said such and so forth, or Bishop said such and so forth. Don't do it. Pastor, if you listen to me, hear me. If you've appointed people in certain positions, don't let them stress you out. Put it back on them. If you got a choir director and they're always saying, not my choir director, but you got a choir director and they always ask you, well, what should we sing? But then why do I need you to be the choir director? Why do I need to do that? Why would I do that? Right? No, you the choir director. You the person. Why should I tell you what you need to do? No. If you on your job and the person, they're over you, and then, you train them, then they got a position over you, and then they come back, you still training them, but they getting the pay and they got the position because they don't want to promote you, then listen, here's how you do this. Then automatically I become like, oh, well, I don't know how to do that. I lose all sense of knowing their job description. Oh, no, I'm not doing, no. But can you do this? And can you help me? How should I do that? I don't know. You the boss. They appointed you. You didn't say, listen, here's what you did not say. You didn't tell them, well, I don't think I'm the right person. I think L is the best person for the job. That's not what you said. You took the position. And so since you took the position, guess what that means? That means that you were capable of what? Doing the job. So guess what? Do your job. That's right. Do your job. Do what you are being paid to do. I'm not getting your check. You're not going to split your paycheck for me. So why are you splitting your stress with me? Organist. Mr. Organist, I'm going to get me an organist. Somebody who can back me up every now and then. Because, listen, I get happy when I'm talking about this. Listen, you got the position. Why are you trying to put all of the work? I'm not talking about, why are you asking me how to strategize and do all this? Because guess what you going to do? You going to take all the credit. If I do the plan, you ain't going to tell them folks that L helped me plan this, L helped me do this, or L was strategic in making sure that these steps were put in place. You're not going to do that. They're going to say, good job, XYZ, and you're going to be like, well, thank you. Oh, okay. No. I'm not inviting stress in my life where you're going to get the reward, where you're going to get the accolade, where you're going to get the plaque on your wall and, the trophy on your bookshelf. But are you putting all the stress on me? Nope. And one more time, nope. Absolutely not. No, we're not going to do that. We are not doing that. And don't allow yourself to be put in that position. Because people will, what? If you let them. Yes, they will. Yes. You know, when you're telling XYZ and they're just determined to do what you're trying to offer wisdom on the front end, don't do that. Don't go out with them. No, I don't feel something ain't right about that right now. Don't do that. And they be like, well, the Lord told me, or, this one, or you just hating on me because I got somebody. Okay, no problem. Now, when they got a problem, you get a problem and you end up crying and stressed out, don't bring it to me. Because you said the Lord said. And would peace be often forfeit? Would needless pain we bear? Why? All because we do not carry what? Everything to God in prayer. Go and take it back to the God you said gave it to you. The Lord who you said told you to do so and so. Because I was trying to help you because I saw something. I saw stress coming out. I saw it coming. But what you ain't going to do is keep me up all night crying with you over a situation that you didn't want my advice for on the front end. Talking here, L, I will. Yeah. Culture call. Folks will do it if you let them. And folks, if you listen to me and you one of them kind of people, do not turn off this radio. You need to get some good counseling right here. Stop stressing folks out when you don't have ears to hear. When you don't have ears to receive wise counsel. Stop stressing folk out. No. I used to sit up in my office for 2 and 3 hours, a person per person, listening to their problems because I thought that's what pastors were supposed to do. I thought that was my job description, to let people unload and dump on me. And one day I broke out in hives, y'all. Hives, hives. My skin was itching. I'm stopping. At that time I used to love check sodas and we put them back. And I went to my doctor, Dr. Albert White. And I said to him, what is going on? He asked me what I was eating. Then he said, okay. This is not food related. This is stress related. He said, this stress related. Yeah. He said, and there ain't no medicine that you can take for this. What you need to do is not allow people to put that level of stress on you. Because guess what? You just sat up in 2 hours of listening to somebody's problems. You gave them solutions, and they gave you a counter solution or a counter problem to every solution you gave them. I said, yes, sir, you're right. And he's a little African guy, so I'm not saying it like he said it, but he said it with a little dialect. And he's like, no, let those people, you already know when you sit down, you going to mark your appointments from 15 to 30 minutes, and that's it. That is it. No, you don't have 2 hours. Listen, y'all, I'm talking about, I would have my schedule packed for the day. I had about 4 or 5 people per day that needed advisement. Now, listen, I did Bible study. At that time, I was doing Bible study on Wednesday, lunch with the Lord on Wednesday, which was at 12 for people having lunch. Then I did a Friday night service, right? And then I did a Sunday morning service. And then I was doing a Sunday night service called Insights for Living. I was doing about 5 services a week, preaching on subjects and blah, blah, blah. And they still had all of these problems. And I found out, wait a minute, are you listening to what I'm saying? And what I came to understand is people will dump on you as long as you have dumpster on your face. If you give them time, they don't mind stressing you out as long as they leave your office feeling better. Because folks already know what they're going to do. So why are you stressing about it? Because you know why? Because we want to help people a lot of times more than they want to help themselves. Talk in here. I think I will. I said we let people dump on us and we let them do what they want to do and say what they want to say more all of the time. They do it all of the time. And they were leaving and my head was hurting and all that. And I'm breaking out. I'm irritable to my wife and my children, and she trying to figure out what's going on. What is wrong with you? And they were causing me undue stress. Now, at this stage, I'm 20 plus years in the game now. Oh, I know how to fix it now. I'm like, now here it is. Pastor, I need to meet with you. I need to meet with you. Okay, here it is. Talk to my administrator. And if they talk to my administrator and my administrator already knows that I only give 30 minutes. See, I only get 30 minutes. And after that 30 minutes, then that's it. See, because my thing is, you already know what you want. You already have an idea of what you're going to do when you come into the office. Oh, that's mean. That's mean. It's only mean because you're not me. You're not a pastor. You're not a leader. You're not someone who people bring a bunch of stuff to. So it might sound mean, but yeah, it's called self-preservation and preserving my peace. It's making sure that I don't stress out, that my body stays healthy and my body stays whole. And now that I'm in my 50s, oh no. Oh, That's why I teach and preach a plethora of subjects. I deal with the human experience. I deal with the Christological and the salvific experience. I deal with the ecclesiastical and the church experience. I deal with everything, marriage, children, family. I deal with it all. I preach it all on Sunday. Every Sunday, I don't bury them. I don't cause them to get off the cross. I don't do that every Sunday. That's me now. But there is a salvific message. I show them how Jesus answers solutions. That's what I do. I've got music that and it answers questions. That's right. And so a lot of times I tell people, listen, I did a whole marriage series. Why don't you and your wife take this marriage series and listen to it together? And then listen to it before we have our appointment, because I'm going to ask you, what did I say concerning that problem? Because I addressed that problem. Where were you? Well, I wasn't in church that Sunday. Oh, okay. So I gave the solution, but you weren't present. Well, it's on this CD. It's on this right here. Go and listen to it. It's just like the doctor says, okay, I'm going to prescribe you some medicine. Take this medicine. And then come back and see me out in a few more weeks. Now, y'all don't get mad when the doctor said, I got XYZ, and he going to write you out a prescription to take the, CVS, Walgreens, Publix, wherever you go get your pharmaceuticals. And you going to do that. Right? And so, yeah, let me know beforehand, before you even make a decision. Yeah, let's talk about how can we make the right decision, because right decisions help you avoid stress, a negative stress. Right? Now, people get upset with you. Yeah. Sweetheart, no, don't get me. No, Pastor, he don't go to church and he don't know the Lord, but I love him. And I met him at the mall. I met him, stop lying, you met him at the club. See, I'm that kind of person. I'm going to stop you right in the middle. No, you didn't meet him at the mall. No, you didn't. You met him at the club. All right. So let's go back. Now start over again. All right. Now, he don't love Jesus. He don't know nothing about Jesus. X, Y, Z, ABC. Okay. No problem. All right. Now, if he come to church, or if I'm talking to him, how he going to understand me and there is no reference point? So what I'm going to have to do first, when you meet with me, is I'm going to have to give him some kind of elucidation to who God is, to who Jesus is. And we're not even going to be able to talk about the problem first, because I'm going to talk about the problem from a biblical standpoint, right? I'm going to offer wisdom, and from that particular context, from that particular worldview. And if he can't hear me, he don't like church. He don't like preachers, and he don't want me to go to church. What should I do? What do you mean, what should you do? I'm supposed to meet with you and ask you what you're supposed to do? No. Pastor, don't stress out. Missionary, mother, saints, friend, elder, superintendent, overseer, evangelist. Do not. No. You stressing out trying to change people's minds where they have it made up. Let me say this one more time. You're stressing out trying to change folks' mind where they already have made a decision. And sometimes you have to let people, in order for you not to be stressed, is to let them go with their decision. Right? My grandmama, my mama, my mother-in-law says this, right? My daddy, everybody says this. My old folk got this. If you like it, baby, then I love it. If you like it, I love it. But listen, you got to take care of that now. If you make that decision, that's on you. You gotta store it well over your decisions. And that's what they used to tell us. And that's what I tell my children. On the back end, when you done made the decision, it's too late to ask mom and daddy now. I can't have that stressing me out. No. No. You want me to help you find a solution to a problem that you didn't have to have. So you didn't get counselor on the front end. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. That's the book. That before you make a decision, talking here, before you make a decision, ma'am, before you make a decision, sir, get you some folks who you can trust. And it ain't got to be a bunch of people. And look at their lives. The text tells us, find those people and follow their lives. Consider the end of their conversation. Consider what their lives look like. Before I ask you any kind of advice for my life, I'm going to look at your life. And my thing is, I wouldn't ask advice from people who I wouldn't want to switch lives with, because their lives look like their decisions, their choices. Huh? Did y'all get that? Culture call. Did y'all get that? I don't need you to miss that one. That their lives look like their decisions and their choices. So if you don't want to switch lives with them, then why would you get advice from them? It's going to cause you some stress. If you're looking at them like, their life is held on two wheels, then why are they in your decision-making, choice-making circle? Why? It starts right there. Learning how to make wise choices and decisions. It'll make the difference in your life when you learn how to identify those people, to assimilate a group, create that group. And I have that group. When I get in a situation, I got folks who I call. I'll text them and they give me insight. And that group might be maybe about 4 or 5, maybe 6 people. That's it. That is it. Because I have to consider where they are. I have to consider the context of what they present in this world. And because I don't want my life, or because I will want, if our lives switch, I'd be okay. I'm not going to talk to people and get advice from people and think it's not going to stress me out. No, your life is stressed out. Why am I getting advice from you? Your advice ain't working for you. So I'm definitely not going to stress out. Listen, this is the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith right here on Praise 93.3 FM, your inspiration station. I need you to keep it right here. There is more to come. Don't miss it.
This is the world premiere.
And we are back, family, right here on the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith. Praise 93.3, your inspiration station. And it is my prayer that you have been enjoying today's show. I've been having a blast bringing awareness to stress. That's right. April is Stress Awareness Month. All month long. Yes. All month long. We're going to be talking about something that has to do with stress, emotional faculty, facility, how we can improve our stressors, how we can bring ourselves into a place of stability and mental rest. All of those things. Yeah. Because what we're finding out is that stress is probably one of the underlying causes of a lot of diseases, a lot of illnesses, a lot of divorces and sicknesses. And I mean, you name it, stress, negative stress is the underlying, context. And we got to start thinking about, what does that look like for us? What does that look like? I don't know about you, but I don't want to live my life stressed out forever. I just don't. I understand that there are places and spaces in my life where I do have to deal, yes, even sometimes with negative stress. You're dealing with the grief or death of a loved one, sickness, and you got to take care of them. And that's kind of a mixture of positive and negative stress because, again, it can pull you in so many different ways. However, it's an honor and all of those different kinds of things that will go on. You just got to learn how to handle it and manage it, steward it well. And so, I I'm not definitely saying do nothing. That's not what this show is about this morning. This talk that I want to have with you is about learning how to navigate stress and not allowing yourself to be brought into situations that will increase the stress on your life. That you already got enough stressors. You already got enough on it. You already got enough issues and problems. Sufficient is the trouble for that day. That means that in every day, that day has a certain allotted amount of trouble. I get it, and we need to understand that. And for every day, we have a certain amount of mercy, a certain amount of grace, peace. We have to have a wisdom applied for every day. And I know that sometimes things extend themselves because that's kind of, human nature. That's life. Life is going to life until life stops lifing. And, nobody's died and come back to say, hey, it gets better from here. We know the promise of the text, that it does get better from here. But while we are here, each day holds a particular, factor for us. Can I say it like that? I think that's the best way to say it. That, that day holds, and there's no need to complain about it. Right? Today's trouble is enough for today. Right? Matthew 6:34 says, so don't worry. And I'm reading out the NRSV version. It says, so don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring worries of its own. Today's trouble is enough for today. You ain't got to project worry that's going to happen next month. It's going to come. Life is going to come. If you stay here, it's going to come. What you must do and what I must do is plan for its coming. Since I know trouble and trials and situations and issues are going to come, since I know people will try to and attempt to take advantage of me in my openness and their access to me, since I already know that, then I'm going to have to learn how to create particular partitions in my life. And when within those levels of partitions, I'm going to keep this there. Then I'm going to create another partition, and I'm going to keep this here. I'm going to make sure that my life is structured in a way that I'm able to navigate and live without adding stress upon stress upon stress. I'm not going to do that. And, you just never know what a day is going to bring. And so because of that, you already have to have and keep it in your back pocket a way and avenues of how you're going to deal with stressors that happen. You got to do that. And if you don't do that, if you do not do that, it's going to create a certain level of problem for you. It's going to be to the place to where you say, you know what? I'm just giving up. It's just breaking you. And, and I've seen people have literal nervous breakdowns, and it's caused by stress. Some folks say it's my nerves. No, really. I told you, in our community, we have the ability to label anything. But you got to be careful that you don't misdiagnose this, because a lot of us don't need, if it's nerves, you need a neurologist. The truth is you probably need a psychologist or just someone who's an advisor and a counselor that can help you navigate. We help you getting on my last nerves. Listen, and you go to the nerve doctor, and the nerve doctor, I'm like, why are you here? This is not neurological. This has nothing to do about your nerves. It has everything to do with your life being an open pen. P-E-N, an open pen where people can come in and just dump stuff off on you. Or where you feel obligated to put yourself into positions to where now you're stressed out, you're tired. And so one of the things I'm going to ask you, even as we come almost to the end of this show, is I want to ask you some questions. how have you identified your stressors? What are your triggers? Yeah. I'm not just talking about being nitpicky now. I'm not talking about being anal about everything. That's not. I'm talking about those things that can happen that really, that really grinds your gears or really add certain context in your life where you can't properly perform. You can't perform at your best because you're so stressed out. That hinders you from sleep and, triggers other things going on. What are those things? Write those things down, right? One of the things that I understand, and this might sound crazy to some, but this might be just on point on others. When I find myself in a place where stress is approaching, or I find myself in a stressed place, a stressed out moment, then I pray, I meditate, I back up. I really, really do. I create myself. I separate from people because a lot of times, you're trying to manage certain things. You're trying to come to a place of, bring your whole body back to a place of homeostasis where everything is balanced and regulated properly within you. Your blood pressure, your nervous system, your digestive system, all those different kind of systems in your body. They're designed to live in a place of balance. And so when they get off balance, I kind of pull myself away. If I can't find peace in my house, if my house has got a lot going on, I'll sit on my back porch. If my back porch doesn't do it, I get in my car, I'll ride around and go to a park, right? And I cut on music. I love classical music, or I love jazz music as well. You mean you didn't put on James Cleveland and Shirley Caesar? No, not all the time. I don't. I just don't. No, I'm a musician, so I kind of know. And then I know how to put on this spa music, meditative music, where it just helps calm my mind down, helps me focus, and all of that. You got to have an answer, right, for those triggers, right? And then the second thing I want to ask is, have you developed a stress covenant group, right? Have you developed an SCG, your stress covenant group? Now, the most important word there is covenant, not stress or group, but covenant. What does that mean? That covenant to me, that means that you can share anything with any person. It can come out however it needs to come out to alleviate that stress, and they ain't going to hold it against you. They'll still respect you in your position. And I have to say this for religious or spiritual people, because sometimes we get around folks that won't let us express our heart the best way they can come out, right? That don't know how to cover us in moments of vulnerability, moments of stress, moments where our humanity is winning the fight. You need a group of people who are in covenant with you and say, hey, just come on over. And I know you're stressed out. I can hear it in your tone. Come on over to the house and yell. And then let you express what you need to express. Let you say how you need to say it. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to use profanity or anything. Doesn't mean that that's the case. That doesn't mean that that's the case. But whatever comes up and comes out, you found watch this, safe space to express yourself, to allow the exhaust of your heart and your emotions express themselves without any, retraction or rebuttal on, well, you the man of God, you the woman of God, saints of God. They're not going to be throwing scriptures at you left and right. They're going to listen to you. They're going to tell you, they're going to be empathetic and say, you know what, I understand, I've been there too. They're going to share the transparency and the reality of their own lives with you. You will find a place where you are what? Yes, safe. You got to have that. So you won't get up, especially for pastors and leaders, so you won't get up venting in the pulpit to people who don't care about you. Some people only need to see you as pastor. They can't handle seeing you, just by your first name or without the shield of your title, without you functioning in that grace of how they know you as their pastor or their leader or their church mother or evangelist. They can't handle that. So you got to have your SGC, your SCG, your stress covenant group that allows you to say, and it don't have to be a bunch of folks. Please don't let it be a bunch of folks. Because when it gets too big, you know, your friend got their friend that got their friend that got their friend, and your business does not stay in the confines of our circle. Absolutely. And here's my final question for the day. Yeah. Once you've discovered that, right, what plan have you put in place to help you alleviate stress? You got the wisdom from your group. First of all, you've identified what those stresses are, number one. Number two, you've expressed that what happened to your safe place, your safe group. But thirdly, have you put it in practice? Have you put up guardrails around your world and your life to help you process stress? Don't just, fume off and not listen to wisdom and not listen to insight of how to correct these things. Not listen to where personal adjustment might need to be made, and then actually watch this. And then once they tell you that, then you actually make the adjustment. You got to do it. You got to do those three things if you really want to be able to navigate stress in your life. This is April, Stress Awareness Month, and we want everyone, I'll say it again, to live long and prosper and be in health. Listen, I see the runway. We're about to land this plane for another amazing show. This is the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, right here on Praise 93.3. Keep it here. We've got a little bit more to come.
This is the world premiere.
Well, family, it's been an amazing show today, don't you think? Absolutely. And I want to make sure that we kick off this month talking about stress awareness. Sometimes we live our lives in such a way that we kind of, just shrug it off. It's just a part of life, especially for black people, especially for our community. We just kind of deal with what we're given, and we've learned how to make the best of it. But I want you to be aware that a lot of times in terms of, how we live our day-to-day lives has to deal with our, does affect our life expectancy. And, I always say that, you only have a certain space of time to deal with things that are important. And don't allow stress to determine what is important in life. That don't allow yourself to be robbed from the benefit of rest and of that place of peace that you deserve. Every person deserves a place of peace. So, yeah, sometimes you got to cut that social media off, cut your television off, and just, the atmosphere is changing or the weather is changing. That's better. The weather is changing, and I used to stay with my grandmama. She lived down in the country, and she would, wouldn't put the air conditioner on. She would just lift the windows up and let the cool breeze from the day just blow in the house. And we would sit on that front porch and just, look at who's going to come into up and down the dirt road. And that was such a peaceful time. What she did after she got home from work, or she was dealing with her garden, or she was cooking and all that kind of stuff, she just got a time for her. And she would just say, come on out here and sit by me. And I would go out there, and she made the best red Kool-Aid. It was red Kool-Aid, pineapple juice, and sometimes she fizz it up and put some ginger ale or some Sprite in it. But, she made the best Kool-Aid, man. That's when we were drinking Kool-Aid. And she would put a little in a little white cup. She would say, write your name on the cup and get you some juice and come on and sit out here. And we would just sit out on that, on the porch, on the little rocking. It was like she had a little rocking sofa out there. And we would just sit, and I'd ask her questions, and sometimes we just didn't say anything. We just watch cars go by. And, sometimes I just really, really miss that. Miss that indeed. Absolutely. That our lives can be so fast-paced and so, hunkered down with so many things that we forget. We literally forget how we really need to slow it down and de-stress. I know you think you got to do it all right now, but I promise you, you don't. I miss those days of my childhood. She taught me how to slow down and, taught us how to, do a garden. And what was interesting is that grandmama would plant not just vegetables and things we ate, but she would plant flowers in the garden. And when you would pull up to our house, especially in the spring, you would smell the flowers when you got out. It was those kind of flowers that every time I smell them now, it's very rarely that I do, but if I go into like a florist or whatever and I smell those flowers, it just zooms me back to that place of peace and tranquility, sitting on my grandmama's porch, drinking that red Kool-Aid, her special red Kool-Aid. And on the good week, y'all, she will make a sweet potato pie, and nobody could make a sweet potato pie like my grandmama. I think everybody thinks that, right? And your cares, you just felt like you had no care in the world. And you got to have that. You got to have those spaces and those places where you don't have a care in the world. You got to know that, guess what? That stress is not your portion. Negative stress is not it. Yeah, it comes and it goes, but it's not supposed to stay. That God wants you to live in peace every day. Every day. You feel me? Yes, Culture Call, you deserve to have a stressless day. Right? Listen, at the end of every phone call, my grandmama and my mom used to say, I love you a bushel, I love you a peck, and I love you a hug around the neck. This is yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, right here on the Culture Call. Praise 93.3 FM, your inspiration station. Keep it right here for the best in good gospel music, and we'll do this again on tomorrow at 10 a.m. Y'all be kind, be sweet, love on somebody, love intentionally, try not to cause nobody no problem, and be good, and have a great day.